We're on. And we're in the sunlight today.
We are. Why do you have a glove on? Are you?
I'm impersonating Michael Jackson.
I was getting ready to say, are you trying to be or OJ? The glove fits though, so it can't be OJ.
Here, guys.
That looks like a carpal tunnel one.
No,
This arthritis.
Yes. We were talking, well, there's a good topic. We were talking about ticks and arthritis.
Ticks and arthritis. Okay.
And all the different illnesses for ticks.
Okay.
Because we went to the vet the other night, and she said there's a new tick called the Asian horned tick. And it's sort of amber in color. Like, like an orangey amber color. And we think we've seen one. I'm sure they're here. Ticks don't know boundaries.
No.
So if they're in states around us, they hitch rides, and they travel. And so I don't know what that one's carrying, but we were talking about ticks and all the different diseases that you can get, and the new ones that are coming out. I'm sure there's so many different ones. And you asked about this glove. Well, if I took the glove off, and you can sort of see that my hands are not the prettiest. They work, but
You're gnarly.
I gnarly. I'm gnarly.
But gnarly used
I
to be a
love
good
that
thing,
word.
right?
Yeah,
Gnarly.
gnarly. I thought it was like, all right, go ahead.
I thought and when that was what the comedians used to say.
Yeah,
the two comedians, yeah.
Gnarly.
Gnarly, man.
Gnarly, man. Anyway, it was a 2010. See, I remember these some of these things I forget, but I remember 2010. And it was May, so that's how much I remember. And it was we had gone to Massachusetts, from here, gone to Massachusetts. And I found a tick right there. And it had embedded, pulled it off. 21 days later, I was sicker than a dog. I don't know if we've talked about this before, but a repeat. I was so sick. And I went to the doctors and I said, I either have Rocky Mountain spotted fever or a sinus infection. So she gave me something for a sinus infection. Go figure. It wasn't the doctor, it was the nurse practitioner. 4 days later, I am still sick. And I'm thinking, do I have yes, I have my life insurance is paid up.
Doesn't make you feel like sinus.
Well, because I had a headache.
Okay.
And that was part of the Rocky Mountain spotted fever.
Right, but I mean...
The whole head was filled and, hurt. And I didn't know it was that. But this knuckle, and I won't just hold the finger by itself because it would look like I'm doing something naughty to you guys. But this knuckle right there, oh my heavens. You couldn't touch it. My fever had gone up to like 103. And our daughter was in the academy. And she came home for the weekend. She goes, you're going to the hospital? I'm like, okay. So I went. And he said, oh, you have Rocky Mountain spotted fever. He says, if you're not better by Sunday, you want to come back. Okay. So I got better on Saturday, Sunday. Not so good. He says, I'm not going back to the academy unless you go back to the hospital, Mom. I'm like, jeez, okay. Goes on her way. So I went back. Again, they gave me some more stuff. But that's when that first flared up. And I'm wondering how many other people over the years, now Rocky Mountain spotted fever, if you don't catch that, it's rare to survive. In fact, the year I had it, some nurse in Northern Virginia had passed away from it because they didn't diagnose it. If you don't realize you've had the tick bite and been infected with it. And you can look it up. And
So what do you pass away from?
It just kills you. Everything just shuts down. I mean, you can't eat. It's horrible. And high fever, real high fever. In fact, the gentleman who discovered...
But not everybody apparently gets it then.
Not everybody gets it. But if you get a tick bite or you think you might have been around a tick and you start a very bad stomach, you can't eat, you're lethargic, headache, high fever, and in my case, that joint was killing me. And you just don't feel... I didn't get out of bed. I spent 4 days in bed.
Definitely not you.
No. And I'm like, oh man, because you feel like you're going to die. And if you don't get... And again, they give you doxycycline, because that's the one thing. And you want to get that. And the gentleman who isolated Rocky Mountain spotted fever actually died from it when he discovered it. So people get it and they get their medicine. So tick bites are super bad. They're really bad. And
We've got to spray our yard now, trying to get ready for, the summer and stuff now, because they're out and about.
they are. And
They tick me off.
I get too ticked. I'm too ticked off with them. Oh,
You just wonder what their purpose is.
I don't
I know I'm
know.
told that one time I said that I was going to ask God about that. And there was another one. But then it was like, Karen, you're going to be too busy in heaven to rejoice, and you're not going to be worried about a tick. And I'm like, well, you're probably right. But it still is like, what is the purpose does a tick serve?
See, when you're in heaven, you can get an instant answer.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be worried
You
about
don't be
that.
worried, but hopefully my curiosity won't be dissolved. I will still be me and be
No,
curious
but
about something.
hopefully there won't be negative things.
No negative thing. Can I find that out? Because I'm just curious now. I'm happy as a lark, but I'm still curious. I want to know these things. So
yeah, it's just, but I don't know their purpose.
no,
They just cause trouble.
They do. They cause trouble, and I think that they've been around a long time. And I've said this before. I actually think that some people that had some bone and problem with arthritis have probably had tick bites in the past, not knowing what you had. You just survived and lived through it. I know my good friend that I taught with, her husband was one of the first people in upstate New York, and they hadn't diagnosed it. And you're talking maybe 30 years ago or more.
Well, and there are people that have lingering, right?
That's what it is, yes.
There's symptoms that you may never get rid of, and maybe they can flare up again. I don't know. I don't know how that stuff works.
I think they do. Well, he has been on a constant antibiotic his whole life because of it. And in New York...
Which can't be good.
No, and in New York, you could only be on an antibiotic for 30 days, and then that's it. Well, he's had to go through, numerous different... because he still suffers from that. And if you get Lyme disease, now from what I understand, that'll flare up if you get another one. So I've had it, and
So you've had that too?
Yes, twice, because it flared up. Yes.
So you weren't bit again, it was just that the flare up from the old one?
Well, I got another bite, and that
okay.
bite flared up a second. So, yeah, I don't like ticks. I was just saying, I might have to get rid of my hair soon.
So are you thinking that you're wearing your glove because of a tick?
No, it hurts. No, I'm wearing it because it hurts.
Okay.
And this is a copper.
It could be,
yeah, and I actually have an appointment tomorrow.
okay.
Okay, because...
Have you had surgery on that?
No, this one, I had surgery on this one, and this one works fine. Because this one was a reverse trigger finger. Where he had to rearrange it, and I actually can wear a ring on that, and I haven't been able to wear a ring on that in several years, and that one's fine, but it's this one now that's he asked about it when I went for that, but at that time it wasn't bothering me, and now it's bothering me. So the glove serves two purposes. Once, it's got a copper embedded, and it keeps me from bending it a lot, so it sort of gives it some structure. And I know you can get these little sleeves, but I don't know what size I wear, and I don't want to spend $20 on something that I can't fit, Where's the pinky? Anyway, so ticks. We talked about ticks, and...
So make sure you spray your yard, put stuff out, because they aren't, and we don't like the grandkids being out there with them and stuff, so... Yeah, it's time to do it now.
You can get some... Chickens will eat them. And here's where skunks will eat insects. Possums will eat these things. They eat all these insects and
I don't
things.
want a skunk in my yard.
Oh, I like skunks. I think we have one under the deck. Because I went out and I'm sitting there and I'm taking care of my toenails, right? And I'm like, and the cats came to visit me. And they're trying to get stuff done, and you got a cat rubbing on your face. And like, okay, all right, guys. And I'm like, I know no one's smoking pot. Because it's not quite the strong, not quite the strong odor that they have when they squirt, but the odor of the animal itself is, I think they're under the deck. So I did what I needed to do quickly and went in the house, so I didn't annoy them.
Right, because the cats may annoy you too.
Although cats and skunks do get along, they have been known to get along. I noticed a skunk one time down when one cat was going in the barn, and I thought, what's that other black and white thing there? Oh no, that's a skunk. It's under the barn. You got a buzzer coming in. Buzz, buzz. Buzz. Anyway, so that's my tick story. The new one, it's here.
Please be careful with them. Make sure to also keep your fresh waters, your stagnant waters dumped. Because mosquitoes, we just bought a little mosquito thing, so hopefully we can keep bugs and all that stuff away, because those are not good either.
Did you get a mosquito zapper?
We got a dino trap. Have you heard of that?
No.
And the dino traps are supposed to be good. So I had been looking at them and watching them and stuff, and so I went ahead and ordered one this year because mosquitoes are not fun either.
No. There was something that my brain was going to say something, and it just went flying away. I have a pair of pants that I use outside, and I've sprayed them with Promethean.
Okay.
Right, and that's heavy.
You have my Promethean to do it?
Yeah. Thank you so much. I like that Promethean. Well played. And these pants never get washed. Pretty soon they just stand in the corner. Just jump in them. I
don't even know what Promethean is.
It's what the armed forces use to kill.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
You don't mess around with it. It's supposed to last through washing.
Where did you find it?
I think we bought it online.
Or you might have to tell me. You might have to kill me if you tell me, huh?
You might have to. Okay.
That's probably one of them things they banned or something.
Yeah. But anyway, so yes, that works. I had a couple more questions to ask you. Oh, we have our scholarship out there. Have we heard anything?
No.
I got to make sure I have that letter, right, that you sent out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's on my computer. Yes.
If not, I guess we will. We'll do something. But no, so far I've not heard anything.
I need to post it on Facebook. I've been negligent, but I wanted to make sure I get all the information to get in touch, phone number, and get in touch with you. Is
So
that
I'm
okay
going
if I
back
put
through.
your phone
Yes,
number? Okay.
yeah. And I've been going back through and double checking everything, and I'm going to double check one more time just to make sure something didn't get sent to spam or something like that.
And I was talking to two of the ladies who are here, and they know, there's college kids that are out of state, and one's going to be a doctor, and one is going to be nurse practitioner, I believe, or physician assistant, and they're not in the state, so I have to be non-negligent, and I have to post that on Facebook so that people will see that. And
know that it's for our area.
Yeah, for our area, but and these kids are from our area.
But they're going out of state.
Yeah, they're going out of state. But do they have to stay in state?
We had originally said that.
Okay.
But if we don't hear from
anybody. Well, yeah, that's exactly it. And
we were just trying to keep everything local.
Well, they were talking about a scholarship that they had, and somebody posted on Facebook because the kids don't care, and the parents read it on Facebook and said, "Okay, come on, we need prodded the
We'd
kids
like some
along.
help, please."
Yes,
Yeah, because you don't want. College is expensive.
Yes, and some of the, I guess, loans are not there anymore, so that is important to get that out.
Well, it's teaching your kids responsibility.
Yes.
I know when I did it, like I said, I know I've said before, but I was so grateful. I did grants that you had to do community service to help pay them back, or to help get them. And I was like, okay, so I was working full time, doing my community service, doing the schooling, but I was so thankful that, but the entitled generations.
See, my roommate was from a farm family. Her mom had passed away, and she got a full grant. I got loans. But the stipulation with loans is every year you taught, they gave grace of 5% off.
And there's
up
some
to 5 years.
There's some medical that will do that if you come work in a rural area.
So after 5 years, I had all of that, a lot of it taken off. So it was really great to have that, and then your payments weren't or a lot.
And those are things to look at when you're doing, but, yeah, so anything that you can
So,
do.
yes. And then I did work study, anything to make some money, and you have to. $500 will buy books. Or some of the
It
books.
might be a book.
Yeah.
Unless you go to those,
Okay, it's hard-
unless you go to those
used.
websites that are used and.
Yeah,
I did
I
that
like the
too.
used ones because somebody highlighted all the parts you needed to know. They were already highlighted. Okay, I'll just study these parts because they're already highlighted. It's like, okay, yes. It's like books.
No, books are expensive,
They are very expensive.
so.
And that was one thing. And the other thing that has been going in my mind, and I sent a text to you about the Secret Service program.
Yes.
And I haven't heard anything from the president of TPHRC, but I'm sure she would be gung-ho about it. I think we should fit it in like our ORs. Observe, assess, and react. Keep your children safe. To keep your children safe.
And it might help keep adults safe too. If
Oh
they
my
learn
gosh,
some of
yes.
these things, because I had told her after our podcast last week, I had told her about a podcast I had listened to, and it was with Homeland Security.
Yeah.
And John Rich. And to me, it was very informative.
But
But it's also scary.
It's very scary.
Because, even if you're trying to protect yourself, if the people you're sending photos to, or you allow people to take photos of your kids, they may not be protected. I mean, that was one of the things that I got from it.
Well,
So
I think everybody should, it's one of those things that everybody should watch, whether you have a child
a grandchild,
or a grandchild,
just associated with anything
it's-
that you
yeah.
can be able to share it.
because it's a type of a scam and a way of getting children, and
And then now, like they were saying with this AI and stuff, it
Oh my
doesn't matter.
gosh.
They can take your child's picture and put
well,
everything.
they come up with it. The two men that they had, they were in their 40s, and they have AIs that look like they're teenagers, girls or boys, depending on what they want to lure. And it really is, you talk about fishing, yes, they are luring these children. And I just got gung-ho after I watched that, and I think we have to get in touch with Arthur and see what he has connections, because he probably has some of the same connections, because I know he travels.
And I
and
know
does
they
a lot.
said we can just call them directly.
We can just call him and
And
get.
that is wonderful.
And we can, this gentleman he said he will show up if there's just two people.
I mean, because they really want to get the word out, I believe.
They want to get the word out.
So we do need to look at some dates, and we need to
Yes.
highly publicize it, and.
We need to get it out there, get flyers going and decide on, we could have it here, which we have enough chairs for like 80 people. I guess we could rent the town hall. That's about $300 for rent.
I know,
And
but if we
that's-
had enough people to do it.
If we had enough, it doesn't matter. I mean, we're doing pretty good.
So, the main thing is getting the word out. And plus, while people are willing to come out and do, I think it's really
You
important.
got to get it in the paper, got to get it, and you get enough people posting it on Facebook. You enlist people to help post it and put it out there. And maybe we haven't been clear about what it is. We are talking about children who have been abducted.
Not even just adopted, but I mean, they can take your child's photo, and then they can post it
Oh,
to
yes.
these websites where these pedophiles go to. And so your child's picture is
Out there, yeah, and you have no.
And not to mention how then they can, but
Sextortion.
they threaten your family.
Yes.
They can, I mean, especially because kids are doing things now that we used to not do.
Not do.
They're sexting and they're
Everything.
putting pictures out and stuff. But if any one of these people gets a picture,
It's gone. You're
it's-
gone.
and then they know where you, and if they're able to find out where you live and stuff, I mean, and then the kids, they get desperate also because of this, the blackmailing, the torture. I mean,
Some
it's
of them
just-
have committed suicide because of that. Now, to go along with that, while I'm usually doing my cooking or baking stuff, the other day, we get Fox Nation,
Okay.
okay? And I have to put a plug in here because they were giving a special And my husband's a veteran,
Okay.
and he gets it free for a year.
Wonderful.
Yes, and then I think it's gonna be not very expensive month after month. So I went on Fox Nation, they have some great programs, they have programs on the saints. It's really cool, I love it. They have different type of program. And Harris Faulkner, she has, it's a special on missing. And she has The Smart Girl, Elizabeth Smart. She has John Walsh's teammate there, the young man who was on the missing, a police officer, retired police officer from Los Angeles, he was the chief of police, and a young podcaster who does it on missing. And she's only had 2 so far, and I watched the 2. I think it's on every week, and I happen to be able to pick up both of them. I watched one yesterday. It is interesting because they have about missing, and 2 of these young missing were teenagers, and one was right from his home. And again, he was a gamer. And that's
And
where
that's how some of these people
they
get in
get
with
them. Yes, and like the Homeland Security was saying, they will be on games with these young people and befriend them, and they think the young child or teenagers thinking they have another young teenager that they're talking to, and they become buddies. And it's a whole, gaming is a world where they find their reality, and that's a sad thing too. And they think, oh, I'm talking to another teenager, and they say, oh, I'll loan you this, or I'll give you that, in the lieu of the game, of the way of the game. But in the meantime, oh, let's really meet. And when they meet, that's when they're gone. And 2 of these, one was, he left his house in the middle of the night. They saw him with his backpack and clothes that he didn't wear, and it was on a camera, and he took his van, and he drove away. They recovered the van. They saw some of his clothes. His phone had pinged in 2 or 3 places, but then it was found in the van, and they don't know where he is. Now, what's the chances of him being swept up? Pretty good chance. Pretty
Parents
good chance.
have really got to be proactive.
Oh my
I
gosh,
mean,
you got to block everything.
It's different than when we were raising our kids. And you've really got to, I mean, there's so many things out there, and every time something new comes up, you've got to be on top of it. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
to parenting
It's a lot.
right now.
And the other one, he was missing right from his house. And he didn't have his shoes. And they saw footprints. And there were 2 people with, he had a flashlight and another person. So he left with another person.
Why no shoes?
And flashlight. Now, and they sent a text. And you have to be aware of text messages too, because, and the wording of text messages. So that's a real interesting program. And these 2 boys, they think these 2 boys in this were probably abducted or, scammed to get and taken. And what bothers me so much is that what are the chances of finding them? And where are they? Who has them? And what are they doing with them? And
it's not.
it's not. So I think that's something we really have to have a meeting and talk about and decide on how we can do that, because of course, we are in this town of, well, this town has how many stoplights?
3.
3, right? And the other town over has 1. So maybe in the whole county we've got 5. There has to be something in Meharon. I don't know. Do we have any?
I don't know.
Either that or we've got 4 altogether. 4 stoplights in the whole county. Not a big county, but where does it happen? It happens anywhere where the internet is available.
Well, and there's so many things to think about, because I mean, this would be an area that you wouldn't think about it. So it could be very possible that it could.
Exactly what I was, yeah, I
And,
mean.
you know, and South Hill's not too far from us, and that means it's 85.
Yeah.
And so anywhere where they can get off and get back on, or just in areas like, I mean, anywhere. I mean, these pedophiles are horrible.
They're horrible. And the two they caught, I thought that was kind of interesting because they got those two international in Virginia. The one was in Tennessee and one was in Canada. And it was the gentleman in Virginia who was giving up his toddler because he wanted to be part of their network. And they knew that these gentlemen, they had those pictures too. They put the pictures right out there. And you wouldn't know. I mean, you wouldn't know, but they caught them.
And this, you know, even what we're talking about now, we're not placing blame, and neither was the Homeland Security.
Oh,
people.
no.
It's not placing blame on parents or students and kids and stuff. It's just making you aware of how all this stuff can happen just under your nose. Under your nose,
I'm telling you, we on a different track, but sort of the same track. We ordered a solar generator, okay?
Okay.
Through our favorite place. It was supposed to be delivered on Monday. It hadn't even gotten into the FedEx system.
Okay.
I'm like, tried to get a hold of the company, had to go through Amazon, and they were very helpful. We communicated, we said, if we don't see it in the FedEx system by this morning, we want a refund. Because are you scamming me? And the funniest thing is, I saw where it ended up in New York. I'm like, okay, I can call this, because it was something trucking. I figured, oh, maybe, you know, they put it there and waiting. And the person I got couldn't speak one word of English. I said, do you have somebody who speaks English? So I got a gentleman. I'm trying to explain to him. He goes, oh, no, we just shipped to the Dominican Republic. I'm like, really? Okay, well, I don't think this is the right place. So long story short, you know, here I am. Did I get scammed? I even called, you know, did I get scammed from this person? Well, it did end up into the FedEx system yesterday.
Okay.
Okay. So it should arrive tomorrow, and it has to be signed for. But no, I didn't stick my foot into my mouth just once. I put both feet in. So yesterday I decided I'm going to order some sand to go underneath the pool so we can put the pool up. So I go online and I was, okay, this one, are you in? Oh yeah, okay, you're in this area. Okay, I'll buy some sand. All right. So I buy sand. I want it delivered yesterday. Nothing. I'm like, so I call. Now here's so interesting. The AI on the other side of that line sounded exactly like a human. Exactly. And I said, are you human? No, I can't come. They can't come right now, but give me all. I'm like, it sounded like you and I talking. That's so scary.
It is very scary.
It is so scary. So can you imagine a teenager having to deal with this? And I'm an old fart dealing with this. I don't know. At both ends of the spectrum, we're not smart.
Well, and I think about teenagers that are lonely or been bullied at school.
Oh, yes.
Or seeking, and then you get somebody online that meets all the stuff that you want. They're liable to bite even earlier, you know, easy too. So
They got
there's
the
so
bait.
many things. There's so many things.
They got, and I really think it's a program we need to do.
So it sounds
You got
good.
me fired up.
Sounds good.
I've been harassing on that and like,
All right, guys. Well, I guess that's it for today. So tick bites to Homeland Security.
Yes,
You never know where it's going to end up.
we have your permission to do that.
Yes, we do. All right. See you later.